There are some problems in the Baki vs. Kengan movie, just judging by the trailer, and I'd like to discuss it in this video. And also tell me what you think in the comments below. Okay, so one of the problems of this crossover movie that I've actually been indicated to from a comment is how they fitted like all the fights into a 1 hour and something minute movie, because like we've all seen the trailer, and if you haven't seen it, it'll be in the description below. But there were a lot of fights that were happening, but there was the main three: Sopang, Hanayama, Jack, Raian, Baki, Ohma, main three. Then we had like other fights in the background that could happen. You saw there was Oliva versus Julius, Gaia versus Muteba, Chiharu versus Adam Dudley. Katsumi and Retsu are fighting someone, but we don't know who. And then in the middle of Baki's fight, there's someone interrupting, which I think that person is Pickle. If we're using past data or information, Pickle interrupted the father-son fight, so he's gonna have no issues interrupting this fight between Baki and Ohma the same way. So I conclude that would most likely be Pickle. But the point I'm saying is that there are a lot of fights. Even Yujiro could be fighting someone. Like I said before, there's potentially more fights. Even they didn't show everything in this trailer, so we could be seeing a lot more than we expect. Like they said, unpredictable battles. So there's so much that could happen, and how could it fit into a 1 hour movie? If that's the case, then it's gonna be insanely rushed, and that won't be as enjoyable. Personally speaking, I don't know about you, but I do not like rushed fights, rushed anime in general. It doesn't seem satisfying to me. So I don't know how TMS Studios have animated the movie, because it's already been finished and it's going to be released next month. I just hope that it's in a way that pleases the viewers, us, and satisfies our desires or our hopes for the movie, because we hope to see a magnificent show, a magnificent display of Kengan and Baki characters fighting each other beautifully, and we don't want it to be rushed. In addition to the fights that I'm having trouble seeing how they even fit all of them in the movie, in addition to that, the secondary storyline I was talking about in the last video, because I have firm belief that they'll be including a secondary storyline or a second plot points in that movie in conjunction or in addition to the fights that are happening. So there's so much happening and in such little time. That's what I'm saying. And that I hope it's sorted properly. I pray it's sorted properly. And hopefully they found a way to make everything work for that. Now, okay, to you Kengan fans, I'm speaking to you now. Once you saw the trailer of Ohma in 2D, it must have been very mind-boggling, for lack of better words, or just very surprising, I would say, because you're so used to seeing Ohma in 3D or sometimes in 2D within the Kengan anime, but here you're seeing Ohma fighting in not only 3D but in a different art style. That might just turn like Kengan fans off a little bit, but yet some might adjust to the fact that Ohma is in a different 2D art style even, and he's fighting consistently in that 2D art style, because they're so used to the Kengan animation, the 3D most of the time. For the 2D in a different art style, it might be unpleasing to their eyes or to what they're used to. But I could not lie to you. For me, someone who has watched the entire Kengan anime up until season 2 part 2, which was the recent season and the recent parts, I'd say that this version of Ohma in the movie is the best looking version of Ohma I've seen ever. And so since I'm already used to the Baki art style, like already, I'm not that affected by Ohma fighting in a different 2D art style. Because yeah, Kengan have their own 2D art style, but it's not like as similar to the Baki art style. It has its different ways that it's being made. But my view on the new 2D looking Ohma might not be the same way, or it might not be your view that you're having. You might not like it like other Baki fans do, or other Kengan fans do. It may look unnatural to you, and I get that, I understand that. So that could be a prevalent problem for Kengan fans specifically on the matter of Ohma in that 2D animation. And I wouldn't say just Ohma, I would say the rest of the Kengan cast in 2D Baki art style, because everyone has to change, not just Ohma. Speaking of the art style, another problem could be that the art styles don't blend together is what I've seen one comment. I've seen someone's comment that the art styles don't blend together, or they don't like how it blends. I see what they mean by like the art styles not blending, because the 2D may look the same, but the characters Kengan and Baki, they're not drawn the same way. Take it into consideration, like look at the noses of the Kengan characters and the Baki characters. It's just an example, but the Baki characters' noses are more curved, and you see have like the circle at the front of the nose, while the Kengan characters' noses are more sharper and have less curves around them, because that's usually how Kengan characters are either drawn or animated in 3D in the Kengan anime. Also in like the muscles as well. Not specifically Ohma, but Kengan characters alike, all of them usually have 8 packs, while Baki characters, if I'm checking from manga material and even the anime, usually have 6 packs. Their abs are drawn a bit differently because of the art style of the manga and or the anime. And probably even in muscle definition and the contortions of the muscles, like the way they are shaped, could be even drawn differently just because of the art styles of Baki and Kengan differ from each other. So that could go back to why somebody or some people would think the art styles don't blend together, because there's disjointment or there's some sort of separation in the art styles, even though they're animated by the same studio, TMS Studio. But something like that is kind of minor. You don't really see it. You don't really see the problem unless you really go in depth and look deeply in each frame. So it wouldn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. It's not a huge problem that would make someone dislike the entire movie. And it's not extremely noticeable to like a new fan of either series. They just want to see cool fights and cool characters and cool moments. I'm saying cool too much, aren't I? At the end of the day, the movie will end up being a complete banger, a magnificent movie, a stellar movie, a masterpiece in anime history. And so these problems won't even affect me or anyone else, probably. In conclusion, the good will overpower the bad. But what do you think? The strong is the beautiful.